President Ruto did say there are no immediate plans to raise university fees, but Mheshimiwa Essy, you know, now I had to pull up nation politics because I would have gotten into trouble with our digital team that I'm sure everybody else tweeted except them. No, they did tweet, so do follow them. But your thoughts on Mudi Awori saying stop these sideshows, elections are over, let the Kenya Kwanza deliver. The Kenya Kwanza government deliver on its manifesto. And with that, I will transition us into 6 months.
I couldn't actually have said it any better than what the good old senior citizen has said. We also need to remember that gone are the times when two people would sit in Muthaiga and make decisions for millions of Kenyans in Nyamakima or Kinangop. Actually, when the Hustler Nation was saying that freedom has come, freedom actually came because Kenyans had a chance to elect whoever they wanted as their president. And it was announced by IBC. Azimio tried to challenge that decision at the Supreme Court. There was a ruling. They further attempted to prosecute that matter at Kamkunji grounds. I think it didn't take off. So when Uncle Moody says that Kenya Kwanza has an agenda that needs to be prosecuted or implemented, I agree. Recently, I was buying unga at a shop in Ongatarongai. I stay in Kajiado, and I actually realized unga had gone down by 40 shillings. That's a good.
You were buying it at how much?
Initially, I was buying. More, it was a bit high, but now I realize it's gone down by 40 shillings. That's one of the positive things I'm saying. But jumping quickly to make a...
Sorry, just so that I can counter check. Which
yes,
brand?
That was Pembe.
Pembe?
Yes.
Okay.
So, to do a rejoin on some of the issues that have been raised, you noted that the brand of politics in Nyanza is changing, partly because there's a generational thing that is coming up. This time we have very many people who are elected, very many young people who are also nominated both at the county assemblies and at the Senate and National Assembly. That has partly largely impacted on how people from Nyanza are doing their politics. It's no longer about being in ODM, being in Kenya Kwanza. People will tend to look at your agenda first. And what my sister, Honorable Irene, fails to notify you that they're actually trying to revive their rekindling presence in the region. Before they got the 5 elected ODM guys, they initially had a huge number before losing those seats in the 2017 election. So they're actually trying to get back their glory, which is going to take them time because the citizens and Kenyans largely are now wiser. Coming to the issue of mass action, of course, mass action is allowed so long as they recognize the limitations of Article 37 of the Constitution on picketing. But the moment we now see, if we anticipate issues of throwing of stones, attacking of people's businesses, then we have a reason to be worried. So far, I have not seen such instances, so I think they're proceeding on well. But the moment they want to intimidate anyone, they want to go to different projectiles, surely on that one, I do not think any right-thinking Kenyan would subscribe to that. On education, interestingly, the World Economic Forum ranks Kenya 7th out of 10 in the academic, in this country being one of the best education systems in Africa. And you know, you would criticize the ranking, yes, in terms of the quality of education, the level of skills training in the teachers, and several other aspects that are put in place. But coming down to what the Kenya Kwanza administration, like in the education sector, for the first time, we are having the highest number of recruitment of teachers, and this was done at the local levels there. This time there's nothing like you have to know someone. Most of the people who went through that competitive process actually got recruited. We have had the lowering of fertilizer costs in that farmers are able to now get fertilizer at a low cost. And Olive, you note that Kenya is a country that is largely dependent on rain-fed agriculture. So in as much as we are trying to push our people to embrace alternative means of agriculture, because our anticipation was that agriculture was going to give us a lot of revenue in whatever we wanted to do. But we have to note of those challenges that have come as a result of climate change, which in as much as you criticize this government, we have no control over some of those issues. And as my sister Honorable Elachi said, countries are starting to get back to their economic standing, especially from the effects of COVID. Climate change has not only affected Kenya, but the effects are well seen in our country. So in as much as some quarters would like to discredit this government, they are not communicating to you that even in the Kerio attacks, the CS, Professor Kindiki, has already issued directives on how those attacks should be handled. Because if you ask me, those guys, I equate them to terrorists. The only difference from what the attackers in Kerio are, the difference between them and ISIS is their geographical location. But surely that's an issue that all of us agree that Kenyans deserve to be protected by their own government, and we see the actions that have been taken by the president and the respective CS of that ministry. So on matters of security, in as much as we are dealing with that issue right now, but I would urge that we appreciate that some of these issues require we as a nation, because we are Kenyan first before we break down into Azimio or Kenya Kwanza, that we now need to come together and give our support as the government is trying to make this country safe for every other person, including people who will never witness such attacks, like people in Kisii. We rarely have such kind of attacks, but we're in solidarity with the initiatives being taken by the government. As women, as young people, we are in support of those initiatives. Thank you, Oli.